What do you like about Japan?
I love the culture and I love the food and the atmosphere and the aesthetics.
アメリカ人です。
Tell me one Japanese word you like.
緊張しました。
こんにちは皆さん。なんと今日私は日本にいません。なぜかっていうと私は PAX というのイベント、アメリカのイベントに参加してます。で、そこでアメリカ人に日本についていろいろ聞いてみたいと思いますので、アメリカ人に聞いてみよう。How many times have you been to Japan?
9 times.
Wow.
9 times, yes.
Why 9 times?
Because we really like it.
Because we like to go a lot.
Have you been there over the course of the last couple of years? Have you been there at least once every year or?
Well, we were supposed to go in 2020 in April, but as you know, things happened. And then when Japan's finally reopened to tourism, I had actually booked a flight on a whim in May of 2022, not knowing if the country would be open. And I just said, I don't care, I'm going to try anyway. And actually, the date that I had picked was for October 11th, which was the day the country reopened. So our flight was on October 10th from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We flew out, crossed the international date line, and landed the day that the country was open again.
Oh, wow.
And over the course of the following year, from October to October, we went 5 times.
Wow.
For make up for lost time.
So within 2 years, you've been here 5 times.
I think
Did
so.
I calculate that right?
Maybe. November.
It's been like 7 times.
So 6 actually.
6 times?
Yeah.
This will be the 7th time in September.
When you go back on your first day in Japan, is there some sort of routine you have?
Whenever we're staying in Tokyo, we always stay in Shiodome because it's usually late in the day when we arrive and we have to just go check in and everything. We just go to the Hotel Famima and get tamago sando.
Hey.
And that's our first thing we always do.
So egg sandwiches at Family Mart is like your arrival food.
Yeah. Or it depends on the time of year. We also will do
Omurice?
omurice, yes.
Omurice.
You know, you can get egg salad sandwiches here and they are good because the American version is going to taste different than anywhere else. But if you want a tamago sando, something that I believe Anthony Bourdain, renowned chef, he was in love with the pillowiness of the bread and just the texture of the mayonnaise that they use. It's very different, even just from a Lawson or something. And you can't really get that here. It's hard. And I've tried to recreate it, following recipes, to get as close as we can.
Bread's not the same.
It's not the same. Japan is huge and there's a lot to see, but those are one of those simple things where everyone says oh, you have to go to Konbini because it's just they have stuff that's interesting and delicious and fun to try and sometimes scary.
Scary? What's scary?
Especially because I'm not at all anywhere close to fluent in Japanese, nor can I understand everything I read. So I'll be I'm going to try this coffee. And then I get it without looking at it or actually analyzing it and take a sip. I'm yep, that's miso.
Oh.
I just drank miso. So pay attention.
Yeah.
One of my Japanese friends, she asked me oh, what are you looking forward to? And this was one of our first trips. And I said, oh, riding the Shinkansen. And she was like, why? And I was like, you don't understand. This is a huge deal.
Shinkansen is gold.
We don't have that.
Yeah.
What are the things you miss the most? If you've come here 9 times, there are good reasons for that. So what are the things you miss?
It's not that we stop missing it. It's we get used to being back here.
It's not a matter of how long does it take for us to start missing Japan, because it's we will come home after the 11-hour flight from Tokyo and we'll go to bed because we're jet lagged. And as soon as we wake up, it's I miss Japan.
Aww.
Very sad.
Instant, you wake up and you miss Japan.
Yeah.
Is there any specific foods or things you miss when you go back?
I know I shouldn't eat it so much because it's endangered, but I love unagi.
Ah.
Yeah. And but the fish there is much better than even here, I feel and basically any traditional food. Every time we get traditional Japanese food, which I can't remember the word of it right now, but they always look at me you like that? Even natto, I enjoy it.
Natto?
And they'll just be whoa.
Whoa.
I don't like natto.
What do you miss?
I mean, obviously there's aspects of America that I like, but one thing that I prefer, especially about being specifically in Tokyo, is the accessibility of public transit, the train system and the buses. Actually, I think the last time we were in Tokyo, there was a massive tropical storm, so the trains had to shut down. We were over at Tokyo Disney, if you remember. And we didn't know if we had to take an Uber or something, but there was buses and people just queued for the buses and we were still able to get home no problem. And if you get stuck here in most places in America, you're just stuck.
You're just stuck.
If you don't have a car, you are stuck. And I think that might actually be something that a lot of people, not only in Japan, but just abroad, aren't aware of about America specifically, is it's really hard to get around without a car.
You said you walk a lot. And you said you can do that in Japan, but you can't walk in the US. Explain.
No. Tell the story.
Okay, so you can walk in the US, but people will look at you funny because most of the, so like we're in downtown Seattle right now and there is like trains and sidewalks. That's most downtown areas. But like if you live in a suburb or out in the country, most places will not even have a sidewalk because everything is designed to be driven to. If you could like walk like 5 minutes to a local store, there's no there's no infrastructure to get there. It's literally like designed to go to something that's like not even a kilometer away. Like driving's great, but when it's the only option, and that's something that maybe people need to be aware of if you're coming to visit America, like please come visit, but just be aware that you will likely need a car, or at the very least you'll need to pay a lot for a taxi or an Uber.
And we live in SoCal, which is, great weather, but it's not made to be walked really. They're trying in LA to like bolster the transportation system. But if you walk in America, people will be like, are you okay? Do you need a ride? Did something happen?
We've actually had the cops called on us more than once just for being outside of our car walking alongside the road because people think that we're like up to something.
What?
And like,
Suspicious.
like we didn't get arrested or anything. The cops were fine with it, but it's still just is such a strange thing, I guess, from like the normal American perspective. If you're not in a downtown area, if you're just out walking, people think you're weird.
Wow, you're weird, or maybe you're up to something sketchy?
Yeah, they actually accused us of like breaking into cars. And it's like, why would we be walking along the road openly and publicly if we were breaking into cars? But I don't know. People, they think it's strange when you're not in a car.
So if you're not in a car, you are suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just, it's not convenient. And at worst, it's dangerous to just be outside of your car in a lot of places in America, which is a shame because America is a big and beautiful country. It's plenty to see, plenty of natural wonders, and like the cities are beautiful, but just be aware if you fly into like Los Angeles airport or something, you will need to grab a taxi or rent a car.
So what is like a thing that you wish you had here in the US that you don't have?
Conveni.
It's trains.
Trains?
Public transit.
Thoughtfulness of other people's surroundings in public would be really nice. Individualism here is intense. I like it, but I also wish there was some respect of public places.
Yeah, I had some weird situations already in the short time I was here. So yes, I get what you mean. Can you tell me something about Japanese people, how you interacted with them, anything you like about Japanese people compared to Americans?
They're always very polite and they always try, like even if they don't speak English, because obviously, they'll try super hard and we're trying, our best to speak Japanese too. So I remember we went to Ryokan and none of us spoke very good of the other's language, but we did kind of a charades and like, it was very cute.
I feel like there's a tendency among a lot of Americans specifically, people tend to get like kind of frustrated when they're like speaking with someone who doesn't really speak English well. But in Japan, like we haven't really run into that. Like people are always very understanding, very polite, and they try their best to help, even if we're both just like, toilet somewhere, like, because it's just, it's a different attitude. And it is something that we also really like about being there. It's just like the hospitality and the politeness. And of course, like there's plenty of people, especially in America, who like, they're known for their customer service as well. It's just, I think there's like less of a tendency of understanding of like people who might be foreign because they just like don't understand, like, well, you don't speak English. Why don't you speak English?
A patience maybe.
Yeah. What was like your favorite or like some good experiences you had?
Maybe not my favorite, but our first time there in Tokyo, like for our first trip, we walked outside and there was this little 5-year-old kid with their mom, and the kid saw us and went, "American desu," like saw
immediately.
It. And that was our first interaction with anyone in Japan, which was really memorable because it is like, well, we are American.
He knew.
He did know.
He saw
How
you.
did he know?
Like, so what is like a really treasured memory of when you were traveling around? Where did you go, which is maybe not Tokyo?
Kyoto. I really love Kyoto. I really love going to shrines, and I love how even in the city, there's a lot of like emphasis on nature and serenity. Like the Zen aspect is so nice because in America, you come to a city, it's very loud, it's dirty. I love, especially in Tokyo, how it's clean, it's like respectful of the environment and your surroundings and other people. So it's just fun walking around there.
I mean, I know it's somewhat cliche to say to like go as a tourist to Kyoto, but Kyoto, just in terms of energy for a city, is so markedly different than Tokyo, especially. It's so much more chill and relaxed, and it's very pretty. Actually, one of my favorite memories is, I believe, our second trip where we were visiting Kyoto for the first time. We were out wandering around and we got lost. So we were just wandering the streets and I smelled something like this like floral aroma, and I kept smelling it like constantly. And I was like, "Are you wearing perfume?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Is there someone following us who's wearing perfume?" And no, because we were like going all over the place. And it was, it's actually I believe a bush or a type of flower that only blooms, I think, in October.
Yeah.
And it's all over the place in Kyoto. And it's called mokse. It's the sweet olive plant, I think.
It's all over Japan.
It's all over the place, but like especially like Kyoto, it's just everywhere. And I kind of became like obsessed with it for a little while because like we were going to like shrines and stuff, and I was like, what is the scent coming from? So I was like running around smelling plants, trying to figure out where it was coming
So
from. And
cute.
I finally determined it's like that orange bloom.
And it's really famous there too for that time period in October.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we really like that. Just basically the nature, I think.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Can you share a good Kyoto memory?
Inari, like walking up the mountain and having all the fox statues because I love foxes, was really cute.
Like Fushimi Inari?
Yeah. I think that same trip, we were walking around and we were just wandering and we found like this ramen shop and it like wasn't advertised at all, but we were just like really hungry and we just smelled it and we went in and it was very much a local place, and we ordered like a double or something and they were like, "Are you sure?" We're like,
Yeah.
"Yes."
But
But it was so good.
compared to American sizes, though, it was like a fun size.
Yeah.
So it was no problem.
Yeah.
というわけで、アメリカにいてきていろんな人にいろんなこと日本について聞いてみました。やっぱりみんな日本大好きですね。私も大好きなんで、これからまた日本に帰ってきたいと思います。で、この動画はきっといろんな面白い話が入ってるので、よかったらチェックしてみてください。See you there!